Alright, so we're going to be breaking down the, X's and O's of what happened in the first matchup between Alabama and Auburn ahead of tomorrow's game between Alabama and Auburn. So here you see Sharife Cooper is with the ball, and you have number 44, Cardwell, I believe, is setting a back screen, or trying to set some sort of screen on John Petty. So watch it. Okay, and that screen is somewhat successful. Petty is now behind Sharife Cooper. Sharife Cooper starts to drive in, but Petty does a good job of just being close enough so Cooper can't make this pass to 44 here. If Petty is more back, back about a foot or two, he might be able to make this kind of dump off bounce pass to number 44, Cardwell, and Cardwell can drive in, and probably he's going to get a dunk. Petty does a good job of staying somewhat close to Sharife Cooper. Herb Jones kind of digs at Sharife Cooper here, as you can see. And Cooper drives in, and here he tries to make this pass, and I don't know if it was the nerves of the situation or he just lost the ball, but he usually, Sharife Cooper's a good passer. He probably could have made this pass most of the time, but this time he doesn't. It kind of bounces off, it pops around, and he recovers it, and now we kind of reset here. So he's out here, and he's got Petty on him. And Sharife's going to drive in, and as you can see here, all 5 guys on Alabama's defense are swarming Sharife Cooper. Sharife's going to come out here, and he's going to make this pass to number 35, Cambridge. Cambridge is going to catch it a little high, little left. It was a good closeout by Herb, just to force, Herb's closeout here is forcing Cambridge to kind of get the ball up quickly. The closeout really doesn't affect the shot. It just affects the timing of Cambridge. Cambridge has to shoot it fast. If Herb doesn't close out, he might be able to regroup. So he misses this shot, and it's rebounded by Cardwell. And since you have everybody crashing the boards on Alabama, he's wide open. Shackelford recovers out to him. Shackelford's kind of stuck here, as you can see. He's trying to change direction. Number 22 is going to do a little step back, and he will hit this shot. So now Auburn is up by 1 with 2:10 to go. We'll just watch it a little bit. Now here we get a Shackelford screen on number 22, Flanagan. And that forces somebody to pick up Herb Jones besides his designated man, which was Flanagan, number 22 here. So it was a good screen by Shackelford. And now you have Herb Jones dribbling in. He's got a bit of an angle, but he's going to go ahead and make this pass out to Jordan Bruner in the corner. It comes out to Bruner. Cambridge closes out on Bruner, number 35 here. Bruner gets out to Petty, and Sharife Cooper is able to close out on Petty, but Petty decides to drive in. And now you have about 4 players swarming Petty. Now, probably number 44 should be in trying to stop or trying to cover Herb Jones, but since it was a scrambling situation, which was all helped due to this little screen right here, and then we got Bruner open. Since everybody's scrambling, they're not exactly sure what to do, so Herb can slip behind here. He fakes and he gets the foul. So looking at this play, it was all set up because of this screen. Everything. The foul Alabama got on this play was set up because of that screen. It might not appear to be like that, but that's what happened. The screen gave Herb Jones an opening, and when there's an opening, the defenders have to scramble. And when the defenders have to scramble, that's usually a good thing for the offense, and that's what happened here. Herb Jones got the foul and got to the free throw line. Herb Jones hits both free throws, and it's 91-90. All right, so this is the next possession. Cardwell is going to try here to set a back screen on Petty, but Bruner is doing a good job of calling the screen out. Petty knows it's coming, and he does a good job of avoiding it. Now, Bruner has to sit back here and he has to kind of say, okay, gotta contain, and he basically just takes him all the way to the rim. Number 44, Cardwell, could have started rolling to the rim, and it would have made Bruner, or it would have made Herb Jones down here think about, it would have made them make a choice between defending one guy or defending the other guy. But he doesn't really roll out the way he should have. Now, I don't know what the design of the play was. It could have been the design. I don't know. So anyway, he's just going to drag both Petty and Bruner down to the rim. You can't really see here, but Petty kind of jaws at the ball, stabs at the ball, and Cooper has to reset. So now we have Sharife Cooper again guarded by John Petty in the corner. And if you look at the angle of John Petty's feet, he's basically inviting Sharife Cooper to drive right into Jordan Bruner. So he comes right into Jordan Bruner. This is really good defense by Petty because he stays right on his side and he knows that Bruner is going to be right there, so there's no reason to get in front of him. And by staying on his side, it cuts off the pass to 44 here, and it cuts off the pass to 10 here. Since Petty is here cutting off Sharife Cooper and Bruner's cutting off the front of Sharife Cooper, it's very, very hard to make a pass, so he has to come up and make a difficult pass. And now he's in the air, so he has to make a pass or it's going to be a travel. And, well, that is pretty easy to pick off if you're Josh Primo, as he does right here. And a pretty good save by Josh Primo. If we go back and watch, Primo catches the ball, 1 foot in bounds, lets go of it, and Petty is coming up the court. And now Herb Jones is coming up the court. So now we've got a fast break opportunity, and this is what Alabama loves to do, because you can have a pretty good driver of the ball, at least before his injury, of Herb Jones, being guarded by a really tall, lanky JT Thor. Now, JT Thor actually does a really good job here of defending. He stays in front of him. You know, Herb Jones is putting his shoulder down into him, but he stays in front of him. He stays there. And Herb Jones is going to jump up, and it looks like, well, we've got an easy layup here, at least an easy look at a layup. And, well, Thor comes up, and he pins that on the backboard, and it is now Auburn ball. We got John Petty guarding Cooper again. As you can see here, Cardwell coming up to set a pick for Sharife Cooper again, but this time he's not really going to set a pick because he knows Jordan Bruner's right here, and Bruner's not really in position to do anything to guard number 44, so he's just going to slip the screen. So he's going to come up, he's going to set the screen, and boom, he's gone. But John Petty does a pretty darn good job of staying on his side. He's not in front of him. That would be the best thing to do. And as you can see, Shackelford actually digs at Sharife Cooper here. But he stays on his side. He stays on his side. And now he's got the pass. Sharife Cooper's a great passer. But since John Petty's right there, he can just put that hand on that ball. And he's able to tip it. It hits the back of Cardwell's head. And then Herb Jones takes the steal. And John Petty forces the steal. So now we're coming back up the court. And this is where I think Herb Jones made a little bit of a mistake. You see Herb Jones here, and he really could have passed this ball to Jaden Shackelford right here in the bottom of the screen. Because as you can see here, there's no one in the paint. And either he can give it to Shackelford and he's going to shoot a three, or he can just give it to Shackelford, and Shackelford's probably going to drive in and get a bucket. Because as you can see here, you got the closest defender's got his back turned to him. So if this ball comes out to Shackelford, that's a pretty easy layup. But instead, he gives it to a pretty decent option, and Bruner's going to be able to get a three. Since it's fast break, you know, you've got Cardwell, who could have been able to be over and guard Bruner on the three, but he's more worried about what's going on in transition, so he's stopping the middle. So now the ball's out to Bruner. Bruner's going to take this three. And as you can see here, if you watch Brunner, he recognizes that he has missed the shot and he crashes the heck out of the board. Thor almost gets the rebound, and I can't really tell, but it looks like Shackelford might have got a hand on his arm or something, and the ball pops out. Brunner gets the ball, and now we're in a pickle. And another thing I'd like to mention before this, watch Sharife Cooper. Sharife Cooper's just kind of watching the ball here. He's not putting the body on a body. And I don't think he's actually expecting Jordan Brunner to follow his miss. But Brunner's coming in, and Sharife Cooper's just kind of watching the ball, and Brunner gets right past him. And since Thor was trying to get the rebound, he's out of position, and I don't know what this guy's doing who's guarding Primo. They're all the way down here. But Thor is out of position, and he's able to put the ball in and get a bucket and put Alabama up by 3. So now Auburn's down by 3, and in this position, you don't really need a 3 because you can get a 2 and foul Alabama and hope they miss a shot or 2 and keep playing that game. So you don't necessarily need a 3. A 3 would be really nice, but you don't need it. So over here off the ball, number 44 is going to set kind of an off-ball screen on Primo. Primo gets past it pretty darn good, and now the guy who's just running past the screen is going to set a screen himself on Shackelford. It doesn't really work because Shackelford and Primo can easily switch here. And this is the only screen that does really any good. 44 Cardwell, I believe that's Cardwell. I might be getting these guys mixed up. But he sets a screen on Josh Primo. Primo's able to slip out of it pretty well. And even if Flanagan was coming open over here, Sharife Cooper's not even looking. So it wouldn't even matter if he came open. So now he's going to get this screen from Thor. And this is just a terrible shot. This is like 27 feet out. Sharife Cooper's not a good three-point shooter. And this is just, it's way too far out. The ball doesn't even get closer than 27 feet to the basket at any point in this possession. Just a horrible possession by Auburn. And he's going to take the shot, and it does not go in. Brunner does a good job boxing out, and Petty gets the rebound. So you're going to have Herb Jones coming by Sharife Cooper, and you can't really tell what happens here with the ball, but Herb falls, maybe a little contact, but Herb Jones falls down, and that ball is going to be picked up by number 1 on Auburn, and now we're coming down the court, and we've got one Alabama player on the ground. We've got Jaden Shackelford, who's way back here, and we've got Brunner, who's a tall, big man. He's probably not too fast, and well, we got a fast break. And this is where Sharife Cooper makes a really, really big mistake. A really bad mistake. Look right here. You have the entire, not only the entire paint, but you have the entire three-point arc inside of that. That's all open. And he could have pretty easily made a pass, because he's a good passer. He could have easily made a pass over here to Flanagan, and Flanagan's putting that ball in. Or it could have been a lob. It could have been all sorts of things. But Sharife Cooper again decides to take a 27-foot three. Now, I'm not blaming him. I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm not trying to be biased here. I'm just saying it was his first game. He's inexperienced, and he made a bad mistake. And that three is an air ball, and it's Alabama ball. And next up, we have Brunner. He's going to inbound the ball to Shackelford. Shackelford's going to have some room. Then he gets fouled. Bama's going to make a free throw. He misses the second one. We're coming back down the court. We watch what's happened here, and as you can see, Petty again makes a great play. He's not totally beating these pick and rolls, but he's just doing good enough. He's not quite ready for it, and the pass is too early, and it just doesn't quite work out. Petty's right there. Petty gets the steal. And that about does it. We have a little bit of messy stuff going on here. Just dysfunctional stuff that I'm not really going to talk about because it's ugly. Just fighting over the ball. Ball's scrambling around. And I think Shackelford kind of makes a little bit of a mistake. He's too close to Thor here. There's no reason to be this close to him. He should be like 2 feet away from JT Thor. There's no reason to be near him and risk fouling him. Had he made it, had there been a foul, it would have been a disaster. But that's the end of the game. And I just wanted to highlight in these last few minutes of the game how well John Petty played in the pick and roll against Sharife Cooper. And I also wanted to highlight that, yes, Sharife Cooper did make a lot of mistakes, but he's not probably going to make as many mistakes as he did in tomorrow's game because, well, that was Sharife Cooper's first college basketball game.